If you only recently started practicing real estate law in Ontario, you might not be totally familiar with the Law Society of Ontario's Form 9E, otherwise known as the Report on the Investment. If you have any experience filling out a Form 9D, then a Form 9E will be fairly easy for you, since much of the information is the same. Form 9E is a standard Bylaw 9 document utilized by licensees when they act for or receive money from a lender in a mortgage transaction. Its primary purpose is to serve as a comprehensive report detailing the specifics of the loan that the lender is providing. The form contains various sections and questions that the licensee must answer, covering the details of the mortgage, the property involved, the terms of the loan, and other information. Whenever a particular item on the form is not applicable, you'll need to indicate it as such. Form 9E must be completed and included in the file for each mortgage transaction the licensee handles, and it must be provided to the lender after the first advance of money. Additionally, instead of using Form 9E, the licensee has the option to provide a detailed reporting letter to the lender as long as it answers all the questions found on Form 9E. In essence, Form 9E ensures that the lender is fully informed about the mortgage investment they are making, promoting transparency and legal compliance in the transaction. There are some circumstances when this form is not intended to be used. If a particular exception applies pursuant to subsection 2 of Section 24 of Bylaw 9, then neither a Form 9E nor a reporting letter is required. Rather than listing the lengthy details of all of those exceptions here, we strongly encourage you to read the relevant article that we published in our help documentation. If you're watching this video on YouTube, you can find a link to that article in the description of this video. After completion, an original of the Form 9E or the reporting letter must be delivered forthwith to each lender. The Form 9E may be entered on a word processor or, in the case of TrustReq, using our online form generation software. Assuming that none of the exceptions apply, and assuming that you are not going to be using a reporting letter, then you'll need to go ahead and prepare your Form 9E, and TrustReq is here to help. Starting from your TrustReq dashboard, click Fill Out New Form on the left-hand sidebar. You will now see an area appear where you can choose what type of form you intend to fill out. On the center of the page, click the drop-down menu and then click Form 9E. You will now see a button that says Start Filling of Form 9E. Click that button. On the following page, you'll see a 26-step process, but rest assured that you'll probably be able to complete these steps in 15 minutes or less, as each step is quite short and straightforward. That being said, a Form 9E is a very detailed document, and we've designed our workflow to ensure that you don't miss important details. The first step simply requires you to enter the client's matter number. If you haven't created a matter yet, you can do so by clicking on the icon next to the search box. Step 2 requires you to enter the full legal name and address of the investor. The address box is powered by Google Maps, so the field will autofill with suggested addresses as you type. When you've entered the relevant information, click Next to continue. At Step 3, you'll need to indicate the name and address of each borrower. When you've entered the relevant information, click Add to List. You can add as many investors as needed. If you make a mistake, you can click the Remove Last Entry button. At Step 4, if there are any guarantors, then each guarantor's name and address is required. The user experience is designed the same as when you were adding the borrower's details. If there are no guarantors, then simply click the Skip button. At Step 5, you'll need to provide the legal description and municipal address of the real property. You can typically find the legal description by looking at the property's parcel register. At Step 6, specify the type of property, such as residential, vacant land, or something else. Step 7 is a two-parter. You'll need to specify the principal amount of the mortgage or charge, but you'll also need to specify the amount of loan money to be advanced by the investor. This is because these two pieces of information are contained within the same numbered paragraph in Form 9E, so we reflected that format in our workflow. At Step 8, you'll be prompted to indicate the rank of the investor's mortgage or charges. For example, you might write something like second, after payout and discharge of existing second mortgage. At Step 9, indicate the percentage that the investor's investment represents compared to the total loan to the borrower. For example, if the borrower isn't borrowing from any other sources and the investor's funds represent the entire loan, then the percentage would be 100%. The input field will allow you to indicate up to 4 decimal places. to ensure that the percentage is as precise as possible. At step 10, indicate the date that the principal was or will be advanced. At step 11, indicate the details of any existing encumbrances, including rank on title, balances outstanding, mortgagee name, and maturity dates. A sample answer is provided to illustrate what your answer might look like. If this question is not applicable, then simply write NA. At step 12, specify the term of the loan. This period will typically be represented in years, but you have the option to use either months or years as your preferred unit of time. At step 13, indicate the due date of the loan. At step 14, indicate over how many years is the loan amortized. At step 15, you'll need to indicate the interest rate as well as how it is calculated. This can be done by simply filling in the blanks in the sentence that you see appear on the screen. An example of a complete sentence might say, the interest rate is 5.5%, calculated semi-annually, not in advance. At step 16, enter the particulars regarding the amounts and due dates of payments of principal and interest. For example, you might say $380.70 on the first day of each month. At step 17, enter the particulars, if any, of amounts of any bonus or holdback or any other special terms. If this doesn't apply, then you can click Not Applicable below. At step 18, in those instances in which the mortgage or charge is a collateral security, or if the mortgage or charge is collaterally secured, then provide the details of the other security. If this does not apply, then click Not Applicable below. At step 19, indicate the registration number, date of registration, and land registry office location. A sample answer is provided to illustrate what your answer might look like. At step 20, where relevant, enter any insurance particulars. Again, a sample answer is provided. If this does not apply, then simply click Not Applicable. At step 21, you'll be asked to choose between two options. The first option is to say, I will provide particulars of disbursements made for legal, brokerage, or other fees or commissions in connection with the placement of the loan, including the names of recipients and amounts paid. The second option is to say, I have advised I cannot confirm what independent commissions or fees are being charged to the borrower. If you choose option A, you'll need to provide particulars before moving on to the next step. If you choose option B, then you can move on to the next step. At step 22, we start to slowly make our way to the end of the Form 9E. This step correlates to Part B of Form 9E, which is called Conditions and Disclosure. The next few questions that you'll see are about whether you have dealt with any request for information and disclosure requested by the investor. Recall that the Form 9D Investment Authority gives the investor the opportunity to make such requests of their lawyer, that's you, prior to the advancement of the investor's money. Consequently, Part B of the Form 9E requires the lawyer to confirm whether or not any such requests have been addressed and the dates upon which the requests were dealt with. If the investor never made such a request, then simply answer no or not applicable to indicate that you made no such disclosure. With that context out of the way, Step 22 asks you to indicate if you provided your client with particulars of existing encumbrances that are outstanding. Specify yes or no. If yes, then specify the date on which you provided those particulars. If this question is not applicable, then simply click Not Applicable in the corner. The final generated form will autofill your answer as no with an additional NA next to your answer. At step 23, in the case of a syndicated mortgage where a prospectus was required, specify whether a copy of the prospectus was provided by choosing yes or no. If yes, then specify the date on which the prospectus was provided. A syndicated mortgage is a type of mortgage where multiple investors pool their money together to lend to a borrower for a single property or development project. This allows investors to share the risk and participate in larger loans than they might be able to fund individually. In the context of a syndicated mortgage, a prospectus is a detailed document provided to potential investors. It contains important information about the mortgage, the property or project, the risks involved, and the terms of the investment. The prospectus helps investors make informed decisions by giving them a clear understanding of what they are investing in. Again, if this question is not applicable, then simply click Not Applicable in the corner. TrustReq will take care of the rest. At step 24, indicate whether or not you obtained an independent appraisal of the subject property pursuant to a request contained in the investor's Form 9D. Again, if this question is not applicable, then simply click Not Applicable in the corner. At step 25, you'll be asked to indicate which lawyer or law firm will appear as the sender of the document. You'll need to provide an address for the lawyer or law firm as well. At step 26, you'll see a preview of your Form 9E. If you notice anything in the preview that needs to be changed, then remember not to press your browser's back button, since this will terminate your form before it is completed, and you'll need to start again from the beginning. Instead, look for the back button located in the bottom left-hand corner of the page. After you click Finish in the bottom right-hand corner, this Form 9E will appear in your primary dashboard along with your other Form 9 records. Remember, an original of the Form 9E must be delivered forthwith to each lender. To comply with this requirement, TrustReq will help you export a beautifully designed PDF file. Starting from your TrustReq dashboard, click on the button that says Form 9D and 9E. Then find the relevant Form 9E in the table that appears. Then click on View Details. On the following page, you'll see the form that you generated, along with some additional options. Click the button that says Export to PDF, and then download your Form 9E. You'll notice that the exported version of your document is visually quite different from the more simplistic preview that you were previously viewing. This is because we wanted to help you communicate a polished and professional experience for your clients. To be clear, the design of the exported document is not a standardized publication of the LSO and is merely our own stylistic design. That being said, all of the content in the document has been carefully crafted pursuant to the LSO's sample documentation and Bylaw 9 rules. After you deliver the document outside of TrustReq, you can upload proof of delivery for your records. This might be an email record, fax confirmation sheet, or other documented evidence that the Form 9E was delivered to its intended recipient. Now let's discuss what happens if you make a mistake while uploading your proof of delivery. For example, you might have accidentally uploaded the wrong document and you wish to correct the error. If you are the primary account owner, or if your account contains the necessary permission level to correct upload errors, then you'll see a button that says Upload a Correction. Clicking this button will cause a pop-up to appear, which will allow you to upload a replacement document. Keep in mind that all previously uploaded files will remain visible in a changelog for users and auditors. This is to maintain the integrity and transparency of your record-keeping activities. Before you upload the new file, please ensure that this is the correct file that you originally intended to upload so that the need for subsequent corrections can be avoided. You'll also be required to provide a brief explanation of what this correction is about and why it is being made. After you click Upload and Save, you'll see a change log and a list of previous files appear. If this isn't the first change that has been made to this Form 9E, then this section of the page will have already been visible. We hope you've enjoyed this tutorial about creating a Form 9E using TrustReq. Thanks for watching.